Hello and welcome. You are now listening to the Space Witch podcast. I'm your host, Whitney Levesque. I'm an intuitive tarot reader and professional astrologer, and this is my podcast where I talk about different esoteric ideas and concepts and break them down so that they're practical and easy to understand for everybody. My goal is to give you the knowledge and guidance you need so that you can make empowered and intuitive decisions on what's best for you and your spiritual practice. Thank you guys so much for joining me this week. I'm so happy to be here and to be back making these episodes for you guys. Last week we talked about how to skyrocket your intuition, and figured this week we would talk about dream interpretation. Yeah, let's talk about it, because as an intuitive person, I find that personally, for me, dreams are one of the biggest ways that spirit tends to communicate with me, and my guides and whatever you want to call it tends to tell me things. So, I've always been that way since I was a kid. I've always had very vivid and prophetic dreams. And I'm sure most of you guys listening have also had those kind of experiences as well. And especially in the last couple of years, I've dived pretty deep and heavy into dreams, especially when I got into lucid dreaming, which is a whole other subject that I will probably talk about in a different episode. But today we're just going to be talking about dream interpretation and different ways you can sort of connect with your intuition and your dreams. So without further ado, let's get into this week's podcast episode. Of course, I'm sure some of you who've been listening can probably guess what my first tip is for... Well, actually, let me backtrack. So basically, here's the thing. What I think is you can't really interpret your dreams if you don't have dreams, which here's the funny thing. So a lot of people think they don't have dreams, but we actually dream every single night. We just don't always remember our dreams. So I'm going to give you guys some tips on how you can really start to remember your dreams, because here's the thing. You can't interpret your dreams if you don't remember them in the first place. So if you don't remember your dreams, then you have nothing to interpret. So first part of this podcast, I'm going to give you guys some tips on how you can actually tap in and remember the dreams that you have. So my first tip, and I'm sure some of you guys can guess what this tip is because I mention it in almost every podcast episode that I do, if you've been listening to me for a while, and that's to meditate. Meditation is amazing for a number of different reasons. I've already talked about it a lot on this podcast, so you can listen to my older episodes to figure out why I love meditation so much. But meditating every day for just 10 minutes or 20 minutes or even just, as little as 5 minutes. If you meditate every day for at least 10 minutes, your dreams will start to become much more vivid and prominent, and you'll just be more aware that they're happening. My first tip for remembering your dreams is to really get into that meditation practice, because I do find that for me personally, when I'm meditating every day, I remember my dreams almost every single night. Whereas back at the beginning of the pandemic, when everything was on lockdown, I actually stopped meditating for a little while. And I was kind of sad because I noticed that when I stopped meditating for long periods of time, my dreams started to become less and less prominent, and I didn't remember them as much, and it made me really sad. So yeah, meditation is a great way to start getting in tune with your dreams. My second tip is use different crystals that boost your intuition and sleep with them under your pillow. So for me personally, I've said this before, but I sleep with lapis lazuli and rainbow moonstone under my pillow every single night. And lapis is actually really great because not only does it help you tap into your intuition, but it also helps you to remember your dreams. That's one of the things that it's known for. So it's really amazing, and I find that working with that stone really helps me a lot. You could also use amethyst, although, see how it works out for you. I feel like some people don't like sleeping with amethyst because it's such a high vibe crystal. It almost can keep you up. So it's almost like the energy of it's too much, if that makes sense. But you try amethyst, or really just, you can use any crystal. It doesn't even have to be a crystal that's specifically for intuition. Although labradorite would be probably another good one now that I'm thinking of it. But anyways, you don't have to use any crystals that are specifically for intuition, or any crystals that I've mentioned. These are just my suggestions. You do whatever feels good to you. If you feel drawn to a different type of crystal that you feel like you should either meditate with or sleep with under your pillow, just follow that. Go with that instead. These are just some ideas to kind of get the juices flowing, and just things that I do that I know work and help me to remember my dreams. So yeah, find a crystal that you like. It can be any of the ones I mentioned or just one that you're drawn to, and sleep with it under your pillow and see what kind of dreams you have. I find that different types of crystals give me different types of dreams. Like I slept with a piece of spirit aura quartz under my pillow once, and I read later on that crystal is known for like astral travel and stuff. And boy, did it send me somewhere else in my sleep. I definitely had a lot of weird experiences sleeping with that crystal under my pillow. But yeah, so those are some crystals you can do. That's my second tip. My third tip is you can use different herbs to boost like your dreams and your intuition. So what I do is there's a couple different teas I like to drink. So one of them is calendula tea. Calendula is really great. It's a type of flower. It's really great in tea. It helps boost your intuition. It's also really good for your skin. When I got one of my tattoos done, I actually had like a natural cream that I was putting on my tattoo that was made with calendula. That was really amazing. But yeah, calendula is like a really intuitive plant. I think I read somewhere that it's connected to like the way it grows. It's connected to the moon cycles. So it's also very motherly because it's also connected to the moon. And the moon also rules emotions and intuition. So there's all that going on. So yeah, calendula is a great one. Although like, here's the thing. You might drink it and like you might not have a dream like that night. Sometimes it takes like a little while for calendula to really kick in. So like for me, I had like I drank calendula tea one time, and then I didn't have any dreams the first night, but the second night, oh my god, you guys, I literally had the most vivid like it was like a nightmare almost. But like I don't want to scare you guys because it's not intended to give you nightmares. In my case, it wasn't so much of a nightmare that I was having as it was just a reflection of something that I was anxious about in my waking life, which I'm going to talk about more later in the episode. But do not be freaked out because of that. Calendula it's not going to give you nightmares or do anything bad. It'll just make your dreams really prominent and vivid, and it'll boost your intuition, and you will have more like intuitive dreams from it. So don't be afraid of it, and it might take a little while to work, like I said. So like you might not have dreams that night, but you might have them the next night. So yeah, that's one type of herb you can use. Another one, I think you can buy online somewhere. I personally have never used this herb. This is one my boyfriend actually uses a lot. He got really into it when he was getting into lucid dreaming. And it's called Kalia. It's a little bit, it's not really, here's the thing, it's legal. Like you can buy it. It's legal in the US. It's not dangerous or anything like that. But it I guess from what I've heard about it, it has a little bit of like a psychedelic effect. Now, obviously, like you're not going to take it and like trip balls. Like you can drink it and feel like, how do I put it? You'll feel a little bit different, but you won't like start like hallucinating or anything like that necessarily. If it helps you guys, someone I know actually tried it once and they said that after they drank it, they felt like they just smoked a joint. So if you use cannabis, it's, I guess, a little bit similar to that. But yeah, so Kalia is another really good one that my boyfriend's told me about, that he has every time he drinks it. He says he sleeps, well, not every time. So I guess in the beginning stages of when you first start drinking it, you sleep really well. And you just have these really vivid, really interesting dreams. Yeah, so basically it just causes you to have these really crazy dreams. It's good for lucid dreaming too, which again, I'll talk more about in another episode. You can buy it online. It's totally legal. You might want to do like a little like spot test, like touch it to your lips and like wait 20 minutes and see if like you're allergic to it or not, because that's another thing you should be wary of if you've never had it before. And then obviously like if it doesn't bother your lips or whatever, then, you know, you can take a little bit of it and put it in your mouth and then wait 20 minutes and see if you have any reaction. And then if you don't have a reaction, it's probably safe to drink it. I mean, it's safe to drink anyway, but these are just some little tips and precautions I'm just letting you guys know about, because a lot of people don't talk about Kalia because it's pretty like underground, but I've heard it's amazing for having really vivid dreams and lucid dreaming and all that cool stuff. So definitely recommend checking that out. The other thing you can do, another type of herb that I've heard is really good for dreams, is mugwort. I think you can drink it in a tea, but I'm not certain. So if you do plan on like ingesting it, do a Google search and make sure that I'm right about that and that it's not like secretly toxic or anything like that. But I have heard that mugwort is really good for having more vivid and prominent dreams. So that's something you can try. Although, like I said, I haven't personally tried it myself. But yeah, those are just some herbs that you can try playing around with and see which one works best for you and what you like. But those are ones that I've used and people I've known have used that have, you know, they've had really good results from it. Another thing you can do, my fourth tip, is you can keep a dream journal. I know that's kind of like a cliche one because everybody says, oh, keep a dream journal, which, like, here's the thing. It is really helpful. I don't personally do it, if I'm being honest, but I know that other people do benefit from doing this, so that's something you can totally do. If you're like me though, and you're like, I don't really want to journal about it, if you have like, I don't know, like a friend who's into like dreaming, or a roommate or family member, or your partner is really into dreams and stuff, make it a thing every morning where you wake up and you share your dreams with each other. Like if you have a friend, for example, who like is really into like dreams, instead of keeping a dream journal, maybe you guys just make an agreement that in the morning, like you guys can just call or text each other and be like, oh, I had this dream last night, and just share your dreams with each other. That's what me and my boyfriend typically do. Almost every morning we wake up and we tell each other about the dreams we had the night before, and it's just a really fun thing that we do. So yeah, if journaling's not your thing, then, you know, there are other ways you can kind of talk about it. Because I think just taking that moment to recall your dreams and to just think about like what did happen last night is a really great way to start like jogging your memory and getting you into that mindset of just trying to remember your dreams. Like your brain will just naturally start to kind of get used to that every morning. Yeah, so those are my first couple of tips for just remembering your dreams. I'll just recap them really quick. So the first thing is to meditate, to become aware of your dreams. The second tip is to use crystals like lapis lazuli, moonstone, amethyst, or any crystal you feel drawn to. Just put them under your pillow when you go to sleep, cleanse them, charge them, do all that good stuff beforehand. My third tip is to try using different herbs. So you could use calendula, kalia, or mugwort. You can drink most of them in teas, but like I said, double check on mugwort because I'm not entirely certain. And my fourth tip was to keep a dream journal or get yourself a dream buddy that you can share your dreams with every day, whether it's through text or over the phone, or you just talk to them in your house, whatever it is. Yeah, so those are my tips for just getting to that stage of being able to remember your dreams every morning. So yeah, with all that being said, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to let you guys know about some stuff that I'm offering, and then I'll get into the second half of the show where I talk about how to actually interpret what your dreams mean. All right, so I just wanted to quickly remind you guys that you can book a natal chart reading with me, which is basically your natal chart. It's just where all the planets were the day you were born. And basically what you get from me is a full in-depth reading of your personality. I go over strengths and weaknesses. I talk about different types of people that you might be attracted to. So I talk about like love and romance a little bit. I talk about work and career. And you get like a 10 to 15 page email from me with just all this in-depth stuff about your natal chart. It's super cool. You can also book a tarot reading with me as well if you're interested in that. We can do it either over the phone, through email, or a video chat right now with everything going on in the world. And another thing that I wanted to announce is I just relaunched my Patreon. So on my Patreon right now, I am currently offering personalized monthly tarot readings where you just sign up and every month you get a personalized tarot reading from me for the month ahead. And there's 3 different tiers. You can check it out in the link in the show notes if you want to read more about it and see what kind of things I'm offering. There's also just going to be like all kinds of cool other there's just going to be all kinds of other cool exclusive content that I'll be putting there that you won't find anywhere else. So yeah, if you want a personalized monthly tarot reading for your month ahead in your inbox every month, go check out my Patreon. And yeah, there's good stuff on there. I think you guys will really like it. And yeah, let's get back into the show. Okay, so in the first half of the show, I talked about tips on how to actually remember your dreams. So now that we're remembering our dreams and we're not just waking up and being like, oh, I didn't have any dreams last night, let's talk about how to actually interpret your dreams. Now, what a lot of people do is, I know a lot of people like to Google, like, what does seeing an apple in my dream mean? Or what does someone dying in my dream mean? Or whatever. And those can be really helpful, but I don't really like them so much because, like, obviously, like, yes, if you're stuck on something and you want to know about the symbolism of something, then yeah, go ahead, Google stuff from your dreams if you think it'll help. But my issue with like those dream interpretation sites is really just, I don't think there's a one size fits all for everything that shows up in a dream. I think the stuff you see in your dreams is always going to be very personal and unique to you and your life. So basically what I'm going to do here is so the way I look at dreams, right, is unless it's like an intuitive or a prophetic dream, which I'll get into in a moment. Here's the thing. Your dreams are almost always a reflection of what's going on in your waking world. At least that's what I've noticed in my experience. So something that's really common is people have stress dreams. Like, maybe you have a dream that you're late for work, or you have a dream that, like, one of my cousins was telling me once that he would have dreams where he was trying to count like a bunch of balls or something, or like little shapes or circles or something he was seeing in his dream. And he would try to count them all, but he couldn't keep up. That's a type of stress dream. So anything, basically a stress dream is just any weird dreams or dreams that are just stressful, you know, like I've had dreams where I was late for work. So anyways, stress dreams are really common. So that's something to be on the lookout for. If you're really stressed in real life, then yeah, you might have some dreams where you're stressed in your dreams. And that's all it is. It's just stress. And, you know, maybe you need to do some things in your waking life to manage that stress better. The other thing I wanted to mention is pay attention to any recurring dreams you have. I did not think that I had any recurring dreams till I hit like my 20s. And I noticed I would have recurring dreams about, like I've had multiple different dreams about like being chased, where like someone's chasing me and they're trying to like get me or like kill me or something. I've had multiple dreams where like all of a sudden my body is just being covered in tattoos, but they're like, it's not like tattoos that I want, and it's just really stressful because they just keep popping up all over me. And those dreams to me are really significant because what I've found in my personal experience is that having dreams like that, like I said, it reflects what's going on in your waking life. So for me, I kind of had to dig deep here a little bit. But what I've found since I've had these recurring dreams is that whenever I have a dream that I'm being chased, or like I feel like someone's trying to like get me or murder me or whatever, that always indicates to me that in my waking life, I'm either feeling trapped or stuck in a situation that I feel like I can't get out of, or it's that like I'm walking on eggshells around somebody. Like basically it's almost like it shows up when I'm around people where I feel like I'm constantly pissing them off, but I don't know if I actually am or not. And maybe that's just the empath in me, but just being around negative people and feeling like they're always like upset with me or something. That's usually what triggers for me those types of dreams where I'm being chased. And it's always a little bit different. Like it might be a different person chasing me and I might be in a different place, but that's the recurring thing, is I'm being chased. And I think a lot of it's just like being in situations that I feel like I can't get away from. So again, when you get dreams like that and you know that that's what it means, you can use that and be like, okay, well, how do I navigate this in my real life? You know, it's your subconscious is just trying to tell you something. The other recurring dream that I personally always have is, like I said, the tattoo one, where tattoos are like, you know, being like covered, like they're just popping up on my body and I can't stop it. I had to really dig and try to figure out what that one was telling me. And what I found was that dream shows up when I'm scared of making a permanent change that I can't undo. And I didn't realize it for a while. It literally just, my guides just popped it into my head when I was just sitting reading a book one day. And I've just noticed that like whenever I feel like I've made a mistake or like I've made some sort of change or decision that I feel like I can't undo, I tend to have that dream. Always ask yourself, like, what's going on in my life right now, and how is this showing up in my dreams? Like, what's the correlation here? And if you're not sure, like, go into meditation, ask your guides to explain it to you, ask them to tell you, because they will. That's what they're here for, is to help us. So and guide us. So yeah, go into meditation and really just reflect on it if you feel like you need to. Like I said, I feel like recurring dreams especially are just so significant. And it's just another way like patterns in our life show up. And it's another way for us to get in touch with our subconscious. And really, I think that's what a lot of dreams are, is just our dreams are a time when we get to really tap into our subconscious mind, because we're not always aware of it in our waking life. Because in our waking life, we're just so much more connected to our conscious mind. I also wanted to say too that like, sometimes dreams are just weird. Like sometimes they just don't make any sense, because there's a theory out there that when we sleep, our brain just gets to run wild and play around and do whatever it wants to do. And yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes like our dreams just don't make any sense. If you have a dream and it's weird and you can't figure out the meaning of it, that's okay. Not every dream is going to have some big, deep meaning. It's okay to just have a weird dream sometimes. If you have a dream about something weird and you're like, well, I don't think I'd want this in my waking life, or that's something I'd never do in my waking life. Obviously, like you can meditate, you can reflect on it, but like it's again, sometimes dreams are just dreams. They don't actually mean anything. They're just weird and random and silly, and it's just our brain having fun. So that's one thing you can kind of look at. When it comes to intuitive or prophetic dreams, I just want to say that when you have dreams like that, like you'll know when your intuition's talking to you. You'll know when it's prophetic. There's nothing else I can say about it. Like that's just the way intuition is. Like yes, like I said, you can go into meditation and reflect on it, but you don't really need anything else to interpret those dreams, because I really believe that if your intuition's speaking to you, like you'll just automatically know. And I know it's hard because sometimes we second guess ourselves, or we, try to blow things off or whatever, but deep down in your gut, like you'll know what it means. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on is sometimes, and I found this this happened a lot more like very early on in my life, personally. Early on in my life, this happened a lot, and it didn't start to make sense to me until I had the divine touch healing done, which was probably like a couple months ago now. Because during the divine touch healing, she talks about like past lives and all this other stuff. But yeah, early on in my life when I was a kid, I definitely had a lot of recurring dreams that were from a past life. So sometimes your past life memories can definitely pop up in your dreams throughout life. So for me, like I've definitely had a bunch of nightmares where like I was being kidnapped or something. And it wasn't until I had the divine touch healing done where, and of course, like I didn't go into this, like I didn't tell her anything about any of this, but I had the divine touch healing done and she told me like, oh yeah, like you were definitely like kidnapped or something in a past life. And I feel like I have a lot of other dreams, or I've had a lot of other dreams where that was the case, where I was trapped or stuck, or there was something like that going on. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is sometimes your past life memories can pop up in your dreams. You can also actually use your dreams to tune into your past lives, but like I said, that's for another episode, probably the lucid dreaming one, whenever I get around to recording it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about dreams and dream interpretation. I hope this episode was helpful to you. I hope it gave you a better understanding of like how to remember your dreams and how to interpret them. I feel like I went over those really quickly, but yeah, that's everything I have to say. So thank you guys so much for listening. If you're not following me on Instagram, go ahead and do it right now at space.witch.astrology. You can also find me on Facebook and like my page there. You can also join the Space Witch community, which is my Facebook group, which is super fun, where, you know, we post memes, we laugh, we talk about astrology and tarot and crystals, and I might be doing some full and new moon rituals on there soon. There's also a bunch of free resources. I don't know why I just remembered to tell you guys that. I just put up a free guide on how to read tarot in 5 steps for anyone who's curious. It is completely free. It's in the group. So go to the link in the show notes and you can request to join the group and I will let you in, and it'll be so much fun and you won't regret it. Lastly, if you enjoyed this podcast, if you got something good out of it, share it with a friend. Leave me a review and a rating on iTunes. It means the absolute world to me. Seriously, it helps out the podcast so much when you guys do this stuff, and I super appreciate it. If you're listening to this on YouTube, by the way, do me a favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If anyone listening on other platforms is interested in listening on YouTube, I'll link that in the show notes if you want to go check it out. But yeah, subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment if you feel inclined to. I love connecting with you guys, and also it helps out the podcast so much. And like I said, I appreciate it immensely. And yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you all have a great week. And don't forget, you are so much more than your sun sign. I will catch you here next time on the Space Witch podcast.